In this video, I'm going to share a simple breathing technique for relaxation to help reduce anxiety and stress and to help with sleep. And before I do that, just to let you know, this technique was designed by Dr. Andrew Weil, and I first learnt about it in his audiobook, Breathing, the Master Key of Self-Healing. It's an incredible listen and I've linked it in the description box. And to let you know, I'm not a breathing coach or anything similar, but I wanted to share how well this works for me. And if you're unsure if you're to do this, then speak to a professional first. I've been using this breathing technique since I learnt about it in 2016. I use it as part of my morning routine before my brain switches into all action mode. It's a kind of meditation for me. I also use it to calm my nerves before public speaking events and to help me fall asleep. Ideally do this technique sitting and somewhere warm and comfortable, but I have done it standing before. In fact, I've done it in some really weird places, which I'll tell you about later. The only place not to do it is when you're driving. The eyes can be closed or open, whatever suits you. And the first bit may seem and feel a little bit weird. It's the tongue position. So place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just behind the two top teeth. If you haven't done it before, it can feel a bit awkward, but just go with it. The more you do it, the more natural it feels. The inhales of this breath are done through the nose and the exhales are done through the mouth, keeping the tongue in that position. And to begin, completely exhale, emptying your lungs. Then inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and then exhale through your mouth with the tongue in that position for a count of 8. And you may find it easier to exhale through your mouth using that tongue position by pursing your lips together. Like I said, it can feel a bit awkward, but just go with it. Now that we've got the technique, let's do 2 rounds together. Inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouth, keeping our tongue in that position. And we're going to start by completely exhaling, emptying our lungs. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you're finished, let your breathing return to normal, and you may find that just after 2 rounds, you're already starting to feel relaxed. You do this for 4 rounds, and you can do it twice a day. And as the weeks progress, after a month of practicing this, you can add an extra round. And ultimately what you're working up to is 8 rounds, and it is suggested not to do more than 8 rounds. I don't know why. I did contact Dr. Will and his team, but without success. I use the word counts instead of seconds because everybody's breathing rate is slightly different, and I found that over the years, as my breathing improves, then instead of increasing the numbers 4, 7, 8, then I just slow the counts down. And then just a final note on the 7 breath hold and the 8 count exhale, that shouldn't feel uncomfortable. This is all about relaxing, and it's not a competition to see how slow you can go. So at this stage you might be thinking, well, all this sounds absolutely wonderful, LT, but this weird tongue position and this odd breathing, it all sounds a bit hocus pocus to me. Well, fear not, I have an expert here to explain a few things. Dan, would you explain some of the science of what's going on when doing the 4-7-8 breath? Some of the physical things that are actually happening in the body?
As soon as you begin to breathe consciously, you have a different relationship to your nervous system. And so you're literally biohacking as soon as you begin to consciously breathe. And that particular breath, 4-7-8, that's one breathing cycle. That slows the breath down quite a bit. And that triggers the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system to rest and digest and recover. That particular breathing exercise, it gives us focus. It gives us interoception. What's happening medically and scientifically is we're literally hacking into our physiology, mindful physiology.
An enormous thanks to Dan for joining us in this video. I've added Dan's details in the video description. As for that weird tongue position, I think it's got something to do with yoga. I have tried to research it, but I couldn't really find much. So whether you dig that kind of stuff or not, then from my experience, I find that concentrating on that along with the counting helps keep the mind relaxed. I do mine in the morning after my morning pages, and I find it stops my brain whirling into action and getting carried away before the day has properly begun. When I can, I do it before a public speaking event, even if it's a couple of breaths. I've stood in a toilet cubicle before doing it. Totally not ideal, but it definitely helps calm my nerves. This would also work well before exams, interviews and presentations. And when you're in a public space, instead of doing the exhales through your mouth, you could do them through your nose, just to be a bit more discreet. I really like this technique for helping make decisions. When my brain is full and I can't seem to join the dots, then I find by doing it, it separates the thoughts from my brain. Usually it's all like this, and then it just creates this little pathway between, so it just helps me make a decision, if that even makes sense. This is also a great way for me to switch my brain off if I'm struggling to go to sleep. And then any other nervous, tense or stress situations, even if I only have time for one breath. I have got some resources for you if you want to learn more about this technique or other breathing techniques. There's the audiobook that I mentioned earlier by Dr. Andrew Will. Then there's the incredible book called Just Breathe by my guest Dan Brulé, which explains this technique along with many others. And then there's also some follow-along videos over here on YouTube. I've added 2 because they've got a slightly different vibe. And all of these things I've added in the description box. I hope you liked this video and that you found it useful. I have made a video on box breathing, which I'll link up here. It's got similar benefits and a similar vibe to the 4-7-8 technique. And I did make that video quite a while ago. It's a bit bland, but I hope you like it. Perhaps you're tempted to try the 4-7-8 technique, or maybe you're doing it already. Either way, please let me know in the comments box about your experience. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you at the next one.